Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Livermore Valley webinar on the current mandate, California requirement for retirement program savings programs for California employers with 5 or more employees with a deadline that's coming up this summer. Today, we are pleased to welcome a group of representatives, our panel, from CalSavers, which is a program that has been set up by the state to help employers meet that requirement. From our member businesses, we have BNGA Financial Services, and we have Fremont Bank here today. Another attendee. Okay. And so with that, we're going to introduce each panelist to talk about their programs. And our representative from CalSavers will also talk a little bit about the mandate. And we'll circle through all of 3 of those and hold off for any comments at the end of the program. All right, so with that, there we go. Here are our panelists. Today we have with us from CalSavers, Jonathan Herrera, who's the Director of Outreach and Education. From BNGA Insurance and Financial Services, Martin Aiello, a financial representative, and from Fremont Bank, Scott Belshaw, Manager of Investment Services and an LPL financial advisor. So first up, we're going to introduce Jonathan Herrera from CalSavers. Jonathan, I've got a little bio here to introduce you. CalSavers is the state's pioneering retirement savings program to provide a path to retirement security for millions of Californians who lack access to a retirement savings plan at work. Jonathan has 20 years of experience working in personal small business and government finance. And prior to joining CalSavers, he spent 3 years at the state treasurer's office, helping California's local agencies invest their idle funds in the Local Agency Investment Fund, or LAIF, and 13 years at Citibank, where he assisted with the organization's business development outreach strategies. And he worked with a team of advisors to provide wealth management services and solutions to individuals, families, and small businesses. And Jonathan graduated from Cal State Sacramento. Jonathan, welcome.
Thank you so much, Dawn. It really is a pleasure to be here. So let me start by saying thank you, obviously, to the Chamber for hosting and giving us this opportunity to join you this morning to talk about how California is working to address the retirement savings access gap in the state. And yes, as you mentioned, discuss the state's new retirement mandate and why this is an important compliance issue for your members. So, we'll get deeper into this in a moment, but just, by way of introduction, CalSavers was created by legislation that passed back in 2016. That actually requires California employers who do not sponsor a retirement plan and have 5 or more employees to register for CalSavers and facilitate your employees' access. CalSavers, we've designed it as an automatic enrollment, individual retirement account, or IRA, with no employer fees or fiduciary responsibility. And I like to start by, just sort of emphasizing that I think this is a really important conversation to be having right now. For a couple of reasons. Number one is the job market, right? We're hearing from employers all over the state about how hard it is to fill open positions, and employers are looking for ways to make their business stand out, right? Be more attractive to prospective employees and retain their existing ones. But, often we also hear from small businesses, especially the really small businesses, that sometimes they can't compete on the retirement benefits. And that's why CalSavers was designed with no employer fees, right? To level the playing field for those small businesses. The other thing that we're hearing from employers, in regards to the pandemic, is with so many people working to overcome the financial setbacks that were caused by the pandemic, we're hearing from employers that they're looking for ways to focus their efforts to help their employees' financial wellness and save for the future. So even though, we're dealing with rising gas prices and inflation that we hear every day, it's so important for any employee, any worker in the state who can save right now to be saving. And that's what CalSavers is all about. So we'll get into my presentation here. I do have to say really quick though, we are excited to join other folks who are, also working to address this retirement savings access gap in the state. but the state of California hasn't vetted anybody's products, so we're not here to endorse anybody. But that being said, I think the best place to start is to just, talk about the situation that the state was trying to address when they created the CalSavers program. And what it comes down to is research shows that nearly half of Californians are projected to retire into economic hardship if they can retire at all, which is really sobering statistic if you think about it. And we think that a key driver of that fact is that there's millions of Californians who are going to work every day playing by the rules, but lack access to a workplace-based retirement program. And this is why that's important, because the research also shows that workers are 15 times more likely to be saving and be on a path towards retirement security if they have access to a payroll deduction savings plan at work, right? We're talking about just a simple way to save automatically from the paycheck, set it and forget it, making small deposits over time, but making a big difference in their financial future. That number actually goes up to 20 times more likely if the program features automatic enrollment, which we're proud to say CalSavers does. We'll talk about a little bit more detail in just a minute. So knowing that the best way to get folks saving and on a path towards retirement security, like I mentioned in my introduction, the state did create this new law, which really did two things. Number one, and most importantly, it did create this new mandate on California employers. But number two, it also authorized us to create this CalSavers program as an additional solution to help employers meet the requirements of the mandate. So the mandate says, again, that any business in the state of California that's not offering a retirement plan, if they have 5 or more employees, will need to register for CalSavers and facilitate their employees' access to the program. So that means in real life that employers who have a plan in place are exempt from the mandate, and employers have time to check out what's on the market and get a program set up by their required compliance deadline. But for everyone else, again, we've created a CalSavers program as a really simple plug and play, fee-free way for employers to satisfy this mandate. I think it's also important to note that we measure the number of employees that your business has by looking at the average number of employees that you report to EDD for the previous calendar year. So we get data from EDD every April, and we use that to figure out what your average number of employees was for the previous calendar year. And with that, we decide if you're eligible or not. And if we determine that you are eligible, you remain eligible for the entire year, even if your employee count goes up and down around that number 5. So if you have 4 or say 3 employees right now because you have a couple of spots that you need to fill, if we determine that you were eligible based on the average number of employees you had last year, you'll remain eligible this year. The idea behind that was to create some consistency for those small businesses that do go up and down around that number 5. But when we're looking at your employees and when you're deciding which of your employees will count and need to have access to the program, we're looking actually at all of your employees with California W-2 wages. If they're 18 years or older and have a social security number or an ITIN, they're eligible to participate in the program. But you'll notice there that we're not looking at full-time employees. So this will include your full-time employees, your part-time employees. If you happen to have a business that's seasonal, your seasonal employees will also need to have access to the program when they're on staff with you guys. The other thing we'd like to note up front, and I kind of hinted at it before, we don't see CalSavers as intended to replace or compete with employer-sponsored retirement plans. The goal of this legislation is to address this access gap that exists in the state. So as we see more employers offering retirement benefits to their employees, whether it's CalSavers or a solution from the private market, that's still a win for the legislation, because most importantly, it means that workers are getting the tools that we know work to get folks saving and on a path towards retirement security. So let's talk about those registration deadlines that we've hinted at. So right now, we're actually 2/3 of the way chronologically through the rollout of the compliance deadlines for this program. We launched it back in July of 2019, and that kicked off a 3-year phased rollout of compliance deadlines based on the size of business. So the first 2 have already passed. The first one was for businesses with more than 100 employees. They were supposed to register by September 30th of 2020. Businesses with more than 50 employees were supposed to register by June 30th of 2021. So if we have any businesses that watch this video, you're in one of those 2 buckets and you haven't, done something about it yet, please connect with us. We want to get you up and running and in compliance before the Franchise Tax Board, FTB, starts issuing penalties for non-compliance. But Don mentioned the deadline that we have coming up. This is the 3rd and final deadline, but it's actually the biggest. Probably represents about 90% of the eligible employers throughout the state. But we're talking about businesses with 5 or more employees. We'll have until June 30th of 2022 to, again, either let us know that you've got a retirement plan in place or register for CalSavers and begin facilitating your employees' access. This is coming up quick, less than 90 days. Quick note for businesses with less than 5 employees. So, keep in mind, we're talking about the average number of employees that you had for the previous calendar year. But if your average was 4 or fewer, then you're not required, you're not eligible for the program, and you're actually not allowed to sign up as a business. But we did open the program for individual participation. So employees of those small businesses, independent contractors, gig workers, basically anybody who's looking for another way to save for retirement can actually go to CalSavers.com and start their own CalSavers IRA with us anytime they want. So open for individual participation. We're also working with the legislature right now to try to see if there is a way that we can open up access to those smaller businesses too, because we have seen some demand from those very small businesses to be able to offer retirement solutions to their employees too. Just to get a quick peek of what we see in Livermore, we've identified more than 700 employers in the city of Livermore with more than 18,000 employees. So potentially 18,000, residents or workers in Livermore that, haven't had the ability to save for retirement through their workplace before. Will hopefully, find a way to do so either through CalSavers or a solution from the private market. So I know we have limited time. So I think, that's probably the most important takeaways is there is this new requirement. There are some compliance deadlines, but I want to take a minute to talk about how we've designed the program, both so that employers have a sense of what it's all about and what it means for your employees. So, when the legislation first passed back in 2016, one of the first things we did was reach out to small business owners and sort of do some focus group research and find out what it is about programs on the existing market that make it difficult for employers to offer retirement benefits. And over again, we sort of hear these same 3 hurdles. They're difficult to administer, they're expensive, and we don't want to take on the fiduciary responsibility. So we've tried to design CalSavers to address all 3 of those issues. We tried to make it as easy as possible for employers to facilitate. I'll talk about that in just a little bit in just a minute. Again, there are no fees for employers, so no startup costs, no ongoing costs, and there's actually no employer match allowed either. So, employers aren't going to be required to put money into the account. And then, of course, because employers are not sponsoring this program, they're not taking on the fiduciary responsibility that they would from an employer-sponsored retirement plan. That responsibility falls on the board that I work for, chaired by the state treasurer, and then, of course, our relevant contractors that we've hired to run the day-to-day operations of the program and manage the investments. But employer facilitation really comes down to 4 really easy steps. And the first 2 are sort of one time, takes less than 15 minutes, really easy. You have to register by your state required deadline and take a few minutes to set up your account. Completely online process. You set up a username and password, answer some security questions, tell us who at your business is going to be working with us or your payroll company if that's an option. And then tell us a little bit about how you do your payroll so that we can integrate the CalSavers process into your payroll process. Then employers are required to submit a roster of their eligible employees. So again, that's all of your W-2 employees, whether they're part-time, full-time, seasonal, who are 18 years or older and have a social security number or an ITIN. That kicks off that automatic enrollment feature that we talked about that I mentioned earlier in the beginning. So employees will then have 30 days to decide if they want to participate. If they don't want to participate, they do have to opt out. Otherwise, they get automatically enrolled. But then after that 30-day employee decision period is up, employers will then submit employee contributions for those employees that are participating, again, as part of your existing payroll process. And we've got over 30,000 employers registered so far. So we've seen all different types of payroll arrangements, and we've seen the CalSavers fit in pretty seamlessly with most payroll procedures that folks have in place. And those are really the only 2 ongoing responsibilities too. Employers will need to maintain that roster of eligible employees. So when you hire new employees, they'll add them to your roster. When employees go, you can mark them as inactive, and then you'll continue to submit contributions for your participating employees as with each pay period as part of your existing payroll process. So that's really it. Just to look at that on a timeline. So it all starts with the employer registering. Those businesses that we've identified as eligible should have received an invitation from us by now. If not, I've got some contact information for you to reach out to us. But once an employer registers, they have 30 days to get that account set up and upload their employee roster. Again, uploading the roster kicks off that employee decision period where your employees will decide they'll either do nothing and will get automatically enrolled. They'll engage with us to customize their account, check out their settings. I got a slide about that in just a second. Or of course, they can opt out if they decide they're not ready to start saving at this time. But after that 30-day employee decision period, again, your employees will be enrolled in the program and employers can start doing the payroll contributions as part of their existing payroll process. So again, that's really it for employer compliance. But I know that employers are probably asking, what does this mean for my employees? So really quickly, I'll talk about that. Our goal for your employees, for the savers, was to create a really simple, portable and accessible, low fee way for them to be able to save for retirement. So again, we designed it as an automatic enrollment payroll deduction IRA. So same rules as any other IRA that you might get at your local financial institution. Key difference is we're working with employers to, facilitate that automatic enrollment, automatic payroll contribution for their employees. And employees can either stick with the default settings, so set it and forget it, on a password retirement security, or they can engage. We've got a simple menu of investment options, and of course they can customize their rates and their contribution rates and things like that. CalSavers accounts are completely portable. They're not tied to you as an employer. So if your employee leaves, their account goes with them. Chances are they might end up at another CalSavers participating employer, in which case they can start making contributions from their new employer into their existing account. Or if it's more convenient for them, they can roll that money over into another qualified plan, or roll money into their CalSavers plan if they wanted to do that. We also chose a Roth IRA as the default investment. Folks can change to a traditional if they want to. But that Roth IRA default does allow for folks to take to withdraw their contributions from the account without paying taxes or penalties on it. And we thought that some workers, especially ones who might, this might be the first time they've ever had access to this type of program, we wanted to make sure that folks felt comfortable that they could access their funds if they needed to in emergency. And then I mentioned there's no fees for employers. That's because the whole program is entirely self-sustaining based on a really small fee that we charge our participants. Right now, our fee is less than 1%, depending on the investment option that they choose. And then built into the contract that we have with our program administrator, those fees will automatically go down as the program grows and reaches scale. As I mentioned, we did design the program as an automatic enrollment. So employers do really, or I'm sorry, employees, your employees have 3 options when they get enrolled in, or when they're added to the program. Option number 1 is they do nothing and they get automatically enrolled at the default setting. So we set them up within the Roth IRA. The default contribution rate is 5% of their gross pay. And those funds sit for 30 days in a money market account, just in case, the employee decides that they didn't want to do that. So they have the ability to withdraw their contributions before they get exposed to the market. But after 30 days, we sweep that money into a target retirement fund so that your employee has, an investment option that is appropriate for their age and time to retirement. Option number 2, employees can customize their account. Remember, they can choose between the Roth and the traditional IRA. So if they want a tax deduction for the current year, they can do that. Or if they make too much money for the Roth IRA, they can do the traditional. They also have complete control over their contribution rate. We have a menu of 5 investment options that folks can choose from. And of course, they can designate beneficiaries and manage their information and all that kind of stuff. And then option number 3, again, employees can opt out. We've even tried to make that part easy. They can do it online. They can do it over the phone. We send everybody a paper form that they can fill out and mail back, if they decide that they aren't ready to participate at this time. So I mentioned, I won't go over this whole slide, but I wanted folks to be able to see this and pause this screen if they wanted to. This has a description of the 5 different investment funds that we have. It shows their fee in the second column from the right. So again, depending on the investment option they choose, they'll pay between 83 cents and 95 cents for every $100 they have in their account per year. And then I also wanted to show the investment manager here, right? For those folks who might be concerned, what is the state doing? How is the state investing the money? Is the state controlling the money? We are not. We've contracted with professional investment managers to manage the funds here on the accounts. So that's the really high level overview. I know, with our short period of time, I want to make sure that my co-presenters here have enough time to talk about what they have. But we've got tons of resources available for employers and savers to engage with us to learn more about the program. All of our support channels are multilingual, but we do offer, support through the website, support on the phone, dedicated lines for employers and for employees. And we also have, one-on-one support available for employers. I actually have 2 field managers based in Alameda County alone. Both are bilingual also. One speaks Spanish and one speaks Cantonese and Mandarin. Their job is to support employers as they go through the process. So if you want one-on-one local support, field support at calsavers.com is the best way to get a hold of them. They even do presentations for employees. So you can invite us out to your place of business and we can do presentations for your employees to learn about the program. But again, please feel free to connect with us. We want employers to know that there are resources out there for folks to get connected with us and get the support they need to get up and running. So with that, thank you very much for this information. My contact information as well as the program's information is up on your screen. So feel free to pause it and take any of it down if you need to. But with that, again, thanks very much, and I'll turn it over to my co-presenters to share, the great information that they have for employers also. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. Thanks for that comprehensive, very quick download on the mandate and on the CalSavers program. So next we have Martin Aiello. He is with BNGA Insurance and Financial Services. Martin has more than 20 years of success leading financial consulting for high-profile organizations. And he's a professional consultant in all facets of performance planning, financial management, strategy development, and retirement planning. He's launched a regional planning division, resulting in over $12 billion in assets. He's been recognized 8 years as the Circle of Excellence Performance Awards. Life Underwriter Training Council Fellowship is enrolled, and he's a licensed life and health agent. And his specialties are wealth accumulation and preservation, business succession planning, very important to our businesses, asset protection, estate analysis and tax planning, employee benefit planning, retirement strategy. And Martin is a graduate of Cal State. You didn't say which one, maybe East Bay, Martin.
East Bay.
But anyway, welcome, Martin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Don and Livermore Chamber. Really appreciate it. As Don had mentioned, my name is Martin Aiello, and I'm an independent financial professional with over 23 years experience in the financial industry. As a business owner working with BNJA Insurance and Financial Services, we're very sensitive to understand the many concerns that small to mid-sized business owners have and the different obstacles that they have to occur and abide by. As a result, we consult with businesses. We focus on bringing solutions that have positive impact on them rather than just selling a product. And so with that being said, we come to your location or vice versa. You're welcome to come to our office, and we can sit down and just talk about your business structure, what's important to you, and with it, be able to recommend the proper benefits for you and for your employees. So with that saying, CalSavers, we're a big proponent of CalSavers program as far as the concept that everyone deserves the right to have access to some type of retirement plan. After all, one deserves the opportunity to have, the ability to retire with dignity. Being able to enjoy the golden years, as we retire without constantly worrying about their finances. Many retired people, their greatest fear in retirement is running out of money. And so with that being said, we work with them and being able to help them, position them so that they can retire with dignity and they can assist and help their employees to do the same. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now, if I may, please. Hold on one second. Oops. It's not allowing me, Don.
But yeah, you are sharing screen, Martin, but you got to click on the tab of your slides.
Pardon me.
Let's go get the slides.
I had them all.
There it is. The last tab up on the top. No.
No.
Oh, over to the left. Yeah, is it that one?
No.
No. Okay.
Do you have the ability to pull it up, Don, real quick?
Well, you didn't send me slides. Is it do you have your PowerPoint? Let me go.
Pardon me one moment.
Yep, no worries. By now, we are very used to this.
I had this all set up too. Pardon me.
So used to it.
Okay. I think because I had delay in myself coming up, that I had them up there and then it wouldn't, I guess they went away. I'm not sure. So pardon me for one moment.
No worries.
Yeah, I sent the attachments to you.
I have resume, trifold,
Yes.
and
If you could put up just resume for a moment, or
okay,
actually, excuse me, trifold.
trifold. Okay, hold on.
I'll stop sharing.
Okay, go. Everyone see that?
Okay. If you could scroll down a little bit, please. This here is just some information in regards to who we are at BNJA and how we work with closely held successful businesses from a tax reduction strategy. Again, as I mentioned, not one shoe fits all. And so with it, this is just a little blurb about our firm and how we work with clients and our process rather than selling product, as I mentioned. The next one on CalSavers Mandate. Okay, so on this one here, right on the top, it's obviously a mandatory that employers offer some type of sponsored retirement plan as of June 30th, which it shows there on the top in the gray. And with it, it's 5 employees or greater. If you scroll down, employer requirements, you're required to offer the plan within 30 days of the employee's hire date. And then the employee doesn't make any elections, they're automatically auto-enrolled into the plan. And as it's set up, it's going to a Roth deferral through payroll deduction. It's required also each and every year to track the accessibility and who is enrolled in the program, and auto escalates from 1% all the way up to 8% over years time. With it tracking the employee, and as they opt out, at least 6 months to open enrollment the following year in October through November 30th. If they do not opt out, they'll have to auto enroll them back into the program. And here's really what you need to know down here in the gray. Employers cannot make deductions themselves. So this is strictly for an employee. Employers need to provide employee packets to their employees 30 days after hire. They need to hold the open enrollment each and every year in November. If no election is made, again, next 30 days, employers have set up 5% auto enrollment going into the Roth contribution. Employers facilitate the program and submit participant employees' contributions via payroll deduction. So they're helping, or they're having to actually facilitate this benefit with the state of California. Employees are responsible for their investment choices, and there are no fees for employees, which Jonathan had alluded to. And then contributions are subject to the Roth limits. And so ultimately, the following page of that, Don, scroll down, employer fees for not complying right there on the top. If they do not comply, they will propose penalties for non-compliance of starting at $250 per employee. If the employer remains non-compliant 90 days after that notice, the penalties can increase up to $500 per employee if non-compliance reaches 180 days or greater. And so with it, this is serious. It's something that business owners need to evaluate, and they need to see what benefit is correct for them, and then implement immediately before June 30th of 2022. Can you put up the next slide, please, or the next attachment? And scroll down to the grid portion, please. Down to the grid portion. Right there. Thank you so much. And so with that, if you could scroll down with me as I review them, but basically, you know, some of the benefits are available through an independent 401k versus a CalSavers. I wanted to see you an apple-to-apple comparison. And so with that being said, the limits for CalSavers is, you know, 6,500. There's a catch-up of 1,000. For 401k, it's 20,500, and a catch-up contribution for those 50 years or older of 6,500. So a total, you know, of $27,000 going into your retirement plan. The tax credit offered from the state or from the federal is that CalSavers doesn't have one, and there is one as long as you have a 401k, you've never had one before, you have one employee that's a non-owner, business owner, or highly compensated person participating, you can get a tax credit of up to $15,000 plus an additional $1,500 if there's auto enrollment associated with the plan. In regards to contribution, CalSavers, they default into the Roth, where 401k, they have the option of having some pre-tax, some post-tax, Roth or pre-tax, or a combination of the two up to the limits. The investments through the CalSavers program is very limited. And with that being said, you want to have the best of the best. When you're sitting here, let's just say if you're a football coach, you want to be able to draft, throughout the entire country, not just California. And so you want to get the best of the best funds. And that's what 401k allows you to do, is there's multiple investments, the universe of investments, and then working strategically with a financial professional, such as your financial advisor, BNJA, will be able to help you choose the right funds. And not only that, monitor them as they go on. And when there's one that needs to be replaced, we'll replace them. Eligibility for the CalSavers, 1 month of employment, 18 years of age. 401k, you can customize it. You can have it a maximum of 1 year and 21 years of age. There's certain reasons why to be able to plan design is so important when you're setting up a retirement plan. And so with that being said, that's working with that financial professional, again, customizing the plan based upon what's important to the business owner and their business. Owner participate, well, you can't in the CalSavers. That's a drawback. In the 401k, yes, you can participate, absolutely. However, you may be subject to some testing rules, and we'll help you with that to be able to design the plan properly. Basically, it's how am I going to set this up? Is this really for me as a business owner, and I want to max out, regardless of what my employees do? Or no, it's for my employees, and I want my employees to be able to participate, but I don't want to really max it out. Or it's a combination of the two. And so with that, that's where that expertise comes along, and you design it properly to meet the need. Plan design, it's limited on the CalSavers, extremely flexible on the 401k. Support, for employees, ongoing support. It's where, I need assistance, I need help, I want possibly to reallocate or what have you. That's not available through the CalSavers. However, working with a financial advisor, again, it suggests on proper allocation based on your age and risk tolerance. Tax deductions, if it's going in a Roth, there's no tax deduction whatsoever. And, there's no tax deduction for the employer just for setting it up, because it's strictly at no fee whatsoever to the employer. But, it hits at an administrative level to where you're part of that process. In regards to tax deductions for the business, yes, there are tax deductions if the employer is paying for the plan expenses, and it's a year-by-year tax deduction for the business. From an administration standpoint, employers part of the administration on the CalSavers, they need to upload and provide the information on a continual payroll basis, and upload and send that to the administrator. In regards to the administration on a 401k, it could have similar administration. However, depending on who you're doing your payroll with, you can have a completely automated integrated solution to where you just report your payroll and you've met your payroll requirements and your 401k administration requirements. Once a year, you'd have to sign a 5500, which is a tax reporting document that's already prepared for you. If you could scroll down a little more, please. So with that being said, again, 401k, it can potentially, help set your employees up to become retirement ready. Statistics show that employees that have access to a 401k retirement with proper service and support, one, they save on retirement and are more productive in working years, meaning they're not constantly, thinking about and concerned about the retirement. They already know that that's set up for them and it's reviewed annually. If not, as a client needs, an employee needs assistance or service. Also, if they're able to retire at an appropriate age or as early as possible, it could possibly save, a great deal of expense and control healthcare costs, which is another big concern. We talked about the deadlines again, June 30th of 2022 for businesses 5 employees or greater. And then with that being said, the penalties again, the penalties if you will not comply, it's $250 per employee, and if non-compliance extends, again, it could be up to $500 per employee. And really the solution is this, let's set up for an appointment at your business or ours at BNJA. We're here in Livermore, part of the chamber. And with that being said, we could evaluate what's appropriate for you and for your business and for your people. CalSavers, or customize a 401k that's best for you. Again, not one shoe fits all.
Okay, thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Don.
With that, we'll move on to Scott Belshaw. Scott is the manager for Fremont Bank Investment Services. He has multiple years of experience in the industry. He's worked as a financial advisor, an associate market manager, and complex risk officer for Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch. He has advised investment clients and other advisors, as well as serving in important supervisory, compliance, and risk functions. Scott has studied at San Francisco State University and Yale University. And he is, here's his bona fides, an FINRA Series 7, 9, 10, and 66 registered through LPL. And he takes great pride in providing an extremely high-touch white glove service model to every interaction. Scott, are you ready? There you are. You need to unmute. There we go.
All right. Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate it. It's my pleasure to be with such a distinguished panel. We work at Fremont Bank very closely with Livermore Valley Chamber of Commerce. And so, again, it's a pleasure to be part of this panel. Fremont Bank has been around since 1964. Have more than 20 branches throughout the Bay Area, so we're local. And Fremont Bank Investment Services specifically manages just about $1.5 billion in client assets. We have 8 financial advisors, a team of about 14 professionals, all registered, and are really, really looking forward to supporting California's legislation. I mean, the spirit of this is really to promote savings, retirement savings, and financial stability. And so we're a big proponent of that. One of the things that we've been working very closely on is working with employers, particularly coming up to the deadline. We are cognizant of some people and employers who may not purposely be procrastinators, but we understand it. And so we're here to help with that. One of the nonprofits actually that we've recently worked with is Christy Yamaguchi's Always Dream Foundation. I am the portfolio manager of that client, and they've recently set up 403B, but we are working very closely with administrators like Principal, for example, and other third-party administrators to help facilitate these plans. And so I really, really appreciate what Martin went through. It was some of the points that I was going to hit on, and I don't want to be redundant, but we are very excited to work with Livermore Valley Chamber of Commerce in helping small companies kind of facilitate these plans. We work with LPL Financial to clear. They are a custodian of our clients' assets. LPL Financial has just about 19,000 advisors. There are more than 850 bank programs that participate with LPL Financial, and we are very proud that in 2020 we were the #1 program at LPL Financial, and so we're excited. We have the bandwidth, we have the ability, and we have the professionals to help administer these plans. So we're very, very excited to be here. We are a resource. Don, I'm not sure if you could share my contact information, but I'm very, very happy to forward that, and are looking forward to working with the companies and the businesses that you work with to help facilitate this plan. Again, we work very closely with other professionals. Martin is obviously a distinct professional. Jonathan went through pretty comprehensively the CalSavers program. And again, we're here to support the facilitation of this important legislation. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and turn it back to Don and appreciate the opportunity to be in front of such a distinguished panel and the opportunity to help small businesses and clients of Livermore Valley Chamber of Commerce. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Scott, and thank you, Martin, and thank you, Jonathan. So I just noted down a couple of comments, but first of all, I just want to show everyone, I think, Jonathan, is this the postcard that a business will get? Receive in the mail.
That's one of them.
If they are flagged through the EDD reporting?
Exactly.
Okay, okay, all right. So we all got these, and hopefully no one's tossed it away. I have saved mine. To be clear, it is the average number of employees because I have 4 at the chamber, but over time we've had people rotate through the staff. So then, for example, our organization is subject to this requirement, even though we don't have 5 at this time, correct?
Sounds like it's definitely possible, right? We'd have to check the data to be sure. But yeah, if your average number of employees for the previous calendar year was 5 or more, you'd be eligible, even if you might have 4 right now.
Okay, all right. And then I have a question about, so if you do go with a private plan, if the employer, how do they must somehow have to report that back to CalSavers so that they can check the box and know you're in compliance. Is there, I didn't see where that happens.
Yeah, it's a really simple process. You would just go to calsavers.com, and right on the main screen, there's an option that an employer can either register or exempt, and you just click on that button for exempt, tell us what type of plan you have, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. And then to be very clear, the employees that we're talking about are 18 and over. They have W-2s, doesn't matter if they're part-time or full-time, right? So that then
right.
That qualifies the employer as being required to comply with this. 1099s do not count. So if you have 1099 contractors, that they're not subject to that. That doesn't,
That's,
that's not included in your head count for your employees. Okay,
that's right.
okay. It's good to know, thank you, on the other larger employers. They still have some time to come into compliance, even though those deadlines have passed. Good to know.
Yeah, so just to be clear on that one, those wave one employers are probably just now starting to receive their penalty notices from FTB. But the messaging that we're sharing with them, so if anybody listens, is once you get in compliance, those penalties don't apply. So either let us know you've got a plan that we missed, or register and start facilitating. And again, those penalties won't apply.
Okay, okay, sounds like there's some flexibility there, so we appreciate that. And then Martin, on your presentation, you referenced a tax credit for the 401k programs. And is that a state tax credit, a federal tax credit, both that an employer might be eligible for? Martin?
Sorry, it is a federal tax credit. And with it, you have to qualify by never had a retirement plan before and have one employee that is a non-owner, family member, or highly compensated person participate. And as they do that, they can get up to the maximum of $15,000 over 3 years.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Correct. And then the additional as well, if you have auto enrollment of $1,500.
Okay. And I have, those are my questions and my comments that I have. I don't know amongst the three of you gentlemen, if you have anything additional to add here before we wrap. Comments, questions for each other?
I'd like to thank you, Dawn, and the Chamber for inviting me to be a part of this panelist group here on such an important topic. It's so important, as Jonathan alluded to, the stats of those that have very little to nothing in retirement and the increasing cost of living, inflation, and just healthcare as we grow older. And so it's extremely important to work with a professional that can customize not only a retirement plan, but create a personal customized financial plan for you, so that you know exactly when you could retire, what you'll retire with, and how it's going to last. Because ultimately you want to enjoy life and in those years now and in those years. And the sooner you get prepared and ready for that, the better off you'll be. And so part of BNJA being part of the Livermore Chamber, we invite a free, complimentary consultation to help at least understand the options, the choices, and with it, make the recommendation, and ultimately leave it up to the business owner to be able to make that choice. So thank you again. I appreciate it. And Jonathan and Scott, thank you so much for being a part of the panel as well.
Yeah, thank you, Martin, and thank you, Don and Scott also. Couldn't agree more. This is a really important issue, such huge impact for, the state of California, city of Livermore area, and, as well. To get folks saving and on a path towards retirement security is really important. And, we're excited to be working with employers and being part of that journey, but couldn't agree more that, there are many options out there, and it's important for businesses to examine all their options. And we're looking forward to connecting with folks so that we can answer questions and make sure that they get, all of the facts and details about how CalSavers is set up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And Jonathan, yeah. I look forward to hearing from you on if they do develop a program for less than 5 employees. I think that kind of will hit another kind of a sweet spot of those businesses, those really small businesses. So
absolutely.
And Dawn and Martin and Jonathan, on behalf of Fremont Bank and Fremont Bank Investment Services specifically, thank you very much for giving us an opportunity to be here. We look forward to working with small businesses and clients to come into compliance. And again, just appreciate the opportunity. So thank you.
Okay. So thank you, Jonathan Herrera, Scott Belshaw and Martin Aiello very much for your time today. This recording will be posted on all of our platforms and our website so that our businesses can look at this at their convenience. They're very busy people doing everything from A to Z, 7 days a week. So now they have this resource that they can refer to help meet this really important mandate, right? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.